flesh is struggling to cope with our past regenerations. Hold on.
Wow.
Would you like a jelly, baby?
What? Cybermans.
Do we have time for this?
We make time.
I'd like more proof that you're me.
Cybermans. Created by the Cybermen. They kill by feeding off brainwaves. Rory and Amy, they may not trust both of us. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Inevitably. See, I'm glad we're on the same wavelength. See, great minds. Exactly. So, what's the plan? Well, save them all, humans and gangers. To an order. Sounds wonderful. Is that what you were thinking? Yes, it's just so inspiring to hear me say it.
Come on!
Well, time to get cracking, Doctor. Hello. Sorry.
Ah, 2 different boots. Yep.
Establish a few ground rules, formulate
That's a real one.
protocol. Breathe. What? We have to get you off the side, and the gangers too.
Sorry, would you like a memo from the last meeting? They are trying to kill us.
Breathe, eh? There's the man. Careful now, Rory.
I think I got so hard I pulled a muscle or something. It's okay, it's okay. It's easy now.
Midnight. It's Adam's birthday.
Huh.
My son's 5. Happy birthday, Adam.
Oh.
That satisfy you, Pond?
Don't call me Pond, please. What?
Interesting. You definitely feel more affection for him than me.
Like, you're fine and everything, but he's the doctor. No offense, being almost the doctor is pretty damn impressive.
Being almost a doctor is like being no doctor at all.
Your gangers?
Yes, our gangers are attacking us. We need you to take us off the island immediately and wipe them out.
Copy that, St. John's.
Whoa, whoa, Amy. Oh, it's gonna be the eye patch lady, isn't it? Yep, it's gonna open.
Amy?
I'm trying to get a look at the boots.
It's her again.
Whoa,
It's who again?
whoa.
There's a woman I keep seeing, a woman with an eye patch.
Now great lighting. This should be interesting now. He had the black boots on, so this is the ganger.
Can you die?
Right.
If you really are the same, then you can die. You can be killed, and
Regenerate.
I might have seen that happen.
Why?
Why? Because you invited us to see it. You're dead.
Whoa. Easy.
What?
You're hurting me.
It's only I say. What?
I'm sorry
Oh.
she found me. Rory, listen to me. Don't listen to her. I'm Jennifer Lucas. This woman is flesh.
He is a doctor.
Not to me, I can tell.
Sure you're not prejudiced?
Nice try, but I know, okay, we've been through too much. You're my doctor, end of.
Someone's about to get hurt. Oh.
Stop it!
The look in the eyes there.
She attacked me. I didn't.
The eyes are the last to go.
Okay. Come on.
He's... Careful, Rory, careful.
Am I crazy, Doctor? Well, you do want to plumb your brain into the core of an entire planet just to halt its orbit and win a bet.
He can't go rescue them, I'm going.
Do you know, I want him to go. And I'm rather adamant. Can you do that for me, Amy?
And what if you're wrong?
That look.
You feeling strong?
I'll break out the big guns.
This first.
Something's going on. Oh, it needs a oh my god. She's a ganger as well.
Thermostatic override granted.
Oh, Rory.
What is that?
Oh, that's Jen. At the
Discarded flesh. Faulty probably. Just thrown away. Look at them. One of my old gangers.
jeez.
Left to rot. Fully conscious. Can you imagine what kind of hell they're in?
Yeah.
But Cleves, the company, how could they do this?
Who are the real monsters?
I don't know if they did it though. That's the thing.
We can't let this carry on.
The real Jen's been lying out here.
Yeah, it's a ganger in there.
Rory's in trouble.
Hey. Gangers.
Got anything for a sweat?
This is how they'll always treat us. Do you see now? After all, you're one of us, Doctor.
Dr. Ganger. Dr. Goo.
Call me Smith.
Ha!
You're one of us, Doctor. Join the revolution.
I've got to go and get them out.
Ring, ring.
Doctor!
Ring, ring! Ah, that'll be the phone. Somebody get the phone.
Huh.
Get the phone. No, fine. I'll get the phone. Stay put.
Oh.
Hello, Adam. I'm the doctor. Well, other doctor. Or Smith. I think you want to speak to Dad.
Yes.
Right.
Daddy.
The Ganger's going to fill in.
But now you're both the same dad, aren't you?
Go on then.
Come on, Adam's waiting.
What's that rumbly noise? What's going on, Daddy? Daddy?
You've tricked him into an act of weakness, Doctor.
No, I've helped him into an act of humanity.
Oh, he might have to. Ultimately. Yeah, he's certainly going to have to fill in now.
In there, mate. I'm quite handsome from this angle. Adam deserves his real dad. Shut up.
You're the dad now.
What do you want me to do? Anything. Just say.
You fill those boots.
You done it.
I thought there might be a possibility of something like this. Wow.
Jimmy, wait. You're a dad.
That is a tricky one, isn't it?
Hey, sunshine. What you up to?
Opening all my presents.
Haha, good lad.
When are you coming home?
Soon.
Daddy's coming home today, Adam.
Yay!
There's that little dance.
Oh, she does like to make an entrance.
Yes, she does.
Get him in the mood. Go!
Ah.
But look, this man, I've flown with him, you know, and you are amazing, and yet I misjudged you, but you're not him, I'm sorry.
Amy, we swap shoes. I'm the doctor.
Wow.
And I'm the flesh.
You can't be.
I'm the original Doctor, Amy. We had to know if we were truly the same. It was important, vital. We learn about the flesh, and we can only do that through your eyes.
I never thought it possible.
What?
You're twice the man I thought you were.
Push Amy. But only when she tells you to.
Okay. It sounds like Amy's about to give birth. Breathe. Push, Amy.
Well, my death arrives, I suppose.
But this one we're not invited to.
Fun.
Nothing.
Ah.
Your molecular memory can survive this, you know. It may not be the end. Geronimo.
Interesting transition there. The fade to black.
Remember? Well, breathe.
Why?
Breathe.
Whoa. Whoa.
What's wrong with her? Get her into the tub.
Yeah. There's a pond out there about to give birth at the...
What is happening to her?
Contraction.
Contraction.
She's going into labor.
What did you say?
I needed to see the flesh in its early days. That's why I scanned it. That's why we were there in the first place. I was going to drop you off for fish and chips first, but things happened and there was stuff and shenanigans. I needed enough information to block the signal to the flesh.
What signal?
The signal to you.
Doctor.
Stand away from her, Rory.
Why?
Whoa. Oh, did I have it flipped? I think I had it flipped.
We're coming for you, I swear. Whatever happens, however hard, however far, we will find you.
I'm right here.
I had it flipped. This is the Ganger.
No, you haven't been here for a long, long time.
Oh no.
Oh my god, it is. There's my Amy. What?
Here it comes.
Shh. Don't want to see the next time on that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I had it flipped. The ganger wasn't out there. The ganger was here the whole time. The real Amy is out there. Right there. Wow. Whew. Okay, so quite the cliffhanger. That's a bit of an understatement, but you know, it's one of those moments as a cliffhanger kind of overshadows an episode, right? Not to say that it was a terrible episode, even though if I am being honest, I do think it was actually a bit of a step down from the first part, right? I'll get into that aspect of it in a bit, but of course, most of this discussion and analysis perhaps is going to focus on this bombshell at the end there. Though, you know, I find it kind of funny that I was actually, you know, bamboozled by the whole, you know, switching shoes twist, even though, you know, there's clearly quite a bit of hinting at that, and you can actually clock that. For some reason, I just didn't. I don't know. You know, it's even funnier that in the last episode, I knew. You know, I even said it in my discussion. You know, there's going to be some shenanigans going on. You know, because they lingered on the shoes. For some reason, I don't know, a bit of a. I don't know. Maybe, you know, it's because I'm perhaps a little bit distracted because I am in the middle of a big move to a new place. But, you know, that didn't stop me from kind of putting the other one together. Perhaps the one that is a bit more puzzling, perhaps, in terms of the, you know, the big reveal. Though, of course, you know, it's been clear for some time now that there is something going on. You know, Amy experiencing this eye patch lady, right? And I can't remember exactly, but might have been the curse of the black spot. I mentioned that, okay, she is experiencing these moments. There's two, like there's another Amy out there, right? Now, in the discussion for the last one, you know, I got the feeling that perhaps there's a ganger of Amy out there, like an advanced ganger of Amy out there, and our Amy is able to kind of, from time to time, kind of connect, right? Some kind of, you know, psychic mind-sharing thing going on, right? And she kind of lingers into that body, or is able to experience the things that body is seeing, right? And that being the eye patch lady checking in. Now, you know, the appearance of the eye patch lady actually is, it's kind of like this breadcrumb trail, isn't it? In terms of trying to figure out just how long Amy has been this ganger. You know, according to the doctor, she hasn't been here for a long, long time, right? And how about that scene at the end there? How about Matt Smith? You know, I know at this point people are probably going to be like, bro, just get a room already. But, you know, Matt Smith, Jesus, I just thought it was a fantastic performance right at the end there in that scene. I mean, he was fantastic in the episode as well. And I love of course, I love the, you know, the ganger, Dr. Goo, Dr. Ganger, John Smith, and our doctor kind of having those moments together. A lot of fun, great fun. And of course, you know, the big switch, he switched the shoes. And that made for an interesting situation given Ganger Amy's reactions to her own doctor, essentially. Is there even a possibility that since she is a ganger, confirmed to be a ganger, that she was kind of almost leaning towards, you know, the ganger doctor being her doctor, right? She was so sure that this is her doctor. Though, of course, you know, that might be a case of overthinking, you know. The shoes did play a big part, right? It was meant to kind of throw off Amy and the audience as well, I suppose. Even though, again, you know, I do believe I should have figured that out, really. It was just one of those moments. It just kind of slipped my mind, you know. But going back to that scene at the end there in the TARDIS, right? Matt Smith and his demeanor, right? These people, right, the eye patch lady and it appears the silence are also clearly a part of this, and I'll get into that because there is, again, long-form storytelling, a lot of great setup leading up to this. These people have made a big mistake, right, of course. And the fact that they've, you know, done this is kind of a bit of a head-scratcher, right? Knowing, everyone knows the doctor, right? These alien beings know the doctor. You know, they've messed with one of his companions, his friends, close friends. They shouldn't have done it. Right? They have the wrath of the doctor, the oncoming storm coming towards them. essentially. And not just the doctor, Rory as well, her husband. He's going to be just as angry, just as determined to get her back and make the people pay, make the people who took her pay. So this is actually set up nicely. You know, there's going to be a bit of a phase of this story that is only going to have Rory and the doctor, right? Again, on their search for Amy. If you're going to ask me, I hope this kind of lingers for a bit. Perhaps the doctor and Rory kind of spend a couple of episodes, right? Trying to gain information. And of course, you know, it's a given. They'll get to Amy sooner or later. They'll get to her. And again, the people who took her, they better get ready. They better get ready. You know, you could just see. I mean, of course, it was clear to the audience, but also to Rory, right? He knows the doctor long enough now that he can read him, right? He saw the doctor's demeanor, right, as he asked him to please step off. You know, come on, you need to step to the side here. He understood that, you know, this is serious business. The doctor is not goofing around right here. This is, again, the oncoming storm doctor, the vengeful doctor, essentially. But yeah, you know, if I have it right, it appears that by dissolving that Ganger, he kind of severs the link to our Amy, right? Because as of this point, or up until this point, she was kind of in this state of, I was about to say a state of trance. She was kind of in a state of deep sleep, essentially, right? But her consciousness was essentially inside this flesh avatar. I almost said flesh mech, but yeah, flesh avatar. So up until that point, Amy, you know, firmly believed that she's been traveling with Rory and the doctor, and she's had these adventures, and, you know, River Song was there in the beginning of the series. So imagine being Amy in that moment, suddenly, you know, crossing back to her actual self, her human self, right? And finding herself really pregnant, like really pregnant. She's about to pop, as mentioned by this infamous eye patch lady. It'll be interesting to see her role in all of this. You know, if she has a much larger role other than just being, you know, a side character that kind of checks in on Amy. Let's see. You know, there's a lot of interesting possibilities, but wow, Amy must be so shocked, right? And in such panic. And I thought, you know, Karen Gillan does a great job of selling that. She really does. Wow, that would be such a scary situation, right? But I love how the doctor tells her, because he knows the moment the Ganger dissolves, she's going to switch back to human Amy. He tells her, he reassures her that they'll find her. You know, Rory and Doctor, of course, they'll find her. They'll come together, right? I love that moment. Now then, let's try to figure out if indeed there was a moment in Series 6, right? Again, beginning at Episode 1, The Impossible Astronaut, and then, of course, there's Episode 2, Day of the Moon. There's actually a lot of juicy stuff in those two episodes that could help me kind of, you know, put it together. So, essentially, anytime I've seen Amy kind of, you know, experience the eye patch lady looking at her, right? Anytime Amy's Ganger kind of connecting to the actual Amy, as confirmed by the ending, at that point in time, she is Amy Ganger, right? So you could go all the way back to Day of the Moon, right? As they are in the orphanage. Again, one of the great standout moments of Series 6, for me at least. She was Amy Ganger at that point in time, right? And then, of course, you know, after that scene, she goes into the room. She does come across a photo of her and a baby, right? And, you know, as I mentioned that, I think I can really almost lock in my prediction at this point, you know, that indeed, you know, that kid, you know, that is Amy's baby. And then, of course, that young girl, I believe that is the baby that grows up. That is Amy and Rory's daughter. And she's about to give birth, right? So this whole, you know, her baby getting snatched is coming together nicely. That theory, there's a lot of evidence there, right? Concrete almost evidence by the end of this, as she is about to give birth. Yeah, so that is insane. But again, you know, it's been some time now. No mention of the young girl who regenerates at the end of the Day of the Moon. Maybe in the next couple of episodes, it might come back in, right? But yeah, so she sees those photos, yet she has no recollection of, holding that baby or giving birth to a baby. But yeah, back to my initial point. As of that point, she is Amy Ganger. But then there's also that moment, right? She goes into the empty room that's got a lot of beds, right? It's got a lot of beds, and she sees all the silence up on the roof, right? On the ceiling, not the roof, the ceiling. Yeah. There's a really strange moment there, right? She kind of panics, of course, seeing all those creatures on the ceiling there. But then all of a sudden, it all disappears. It all disappears, and it's just as if nothing happened, and the door opened, right? That I firmly remember, right? Clearly remember thinking, oh, okay, there's something strange that just happened here, right? Missing time. Missing time is a big deal. I've been keeping track of a lot of the missing time moments. See, in that episode, the big moment there is Amy kind of disappearing and her tracker just being on the floor, right? So is there even a possibility that ganger kind of dissolves and then the tracker just kind of gets left behind, right? And of course, Rory, Doctor, River, they all kind of come across that tracker. So the next question becomes, is that her kind of transferring to yet another ganger inside that TARDIS they tried to build, right? And again, the thing that was kind of worth noting there is the silence telling her, you've been here a couple of days now. Yet Amy had this baffled reaction. She's like, huh? Right? So does that mean they had another flesh of Amy, or Amy Ganger ready there? And just now, she kind of dissolves inside and then gets transferred to that Ganger, right? I think that's a strong possibility of that being the case. So did she get switched in that 3-month time skip from episode 1 to episode 2, right? I think that is a strong possibility. Something must have happened in that time span, right? It's a long time span. That's a lot of missing time. It's quite the time skip. That being said, there is a moment, even in episode 1, The Impossible Astronaut, in the Oval Office, actually. The Doctor mentions, he's also looking into something else. And I believe he kind of glimpses at Amy. So he knew even then, right? There's hints of him knowing even then. So it's possible that even by episode 1, I already kind of didn't see Amy, our Amy. That could have been Ganger Amy, right? Even in episode 1. Yeah. So it's kind of tough to pinpoint. I'm sure I'll get my answer over the span of the rest of the series. But as I am on The Impossible Astronaut, let's go back to a few other moments. Her Amy in the bathroom, right? That one silence tells her, you have to tell the Doctor the thing he must know and the thing he must never know, right? Tell him. I remember that scene. So yeah, you see that in this episode, Amy thinking that she's speaking with Dr. Ganger, right? Dr. Goo or John Smith, she lets it slip, essentially, right? She tells him, again, she wasn't under the impression that she's speaking with the real Doctor, but she was, right? They have that moment, the Doctor gets quite aggressive. So in hindsight, that's quite the moment, right? The Doctor having to get aggressive to get a reaction out of Amy. Perhaps testing Amy as well. I don't know. Pins her against the wall. Really kind of scares Amy. But, at that moment, she straight up tells him, right? that she might have seen him die already. And this is after, she kind of asked the question, can you die? Right? Because she might have seen it already. And then as the Doctor kind of starts going into the whole, why situation. And of course, Amy's reply as she kind of laughs, because he invited us, right? To see your death. So our Doctor knows, right? As of this point, let's establish that, or it's been established that, yes, he knows that Amy and Rory and perhaps others, including River, have kind of seen him die, right? So he knows that much, right? And he knew already. I think I felt like he already kind of put it together. This is more so of a confirmation, right? He knew they're hiding something. And then, again, Amy in the cliffhanger too, The Impossible Astronaut kind of tells him, I'm saving your life, and shoots at the girl, right? In the suit. But now he knows for sure because he got confirmation straight from Amy. So it'll be interesting if he kind of brings that up to Rory at some point, and then of course I'm expecting Amy to be reunited at some point. It'll be interesting if he does bring that up to them. Let's see, let's see how that kind of develops. But kind of circling back to Ganger Amy, right, the flesh avatar. Surely it wasn't any. I mean, surely I wasn't seeing, Avatar Amy, Ganger Amy in series 5 in the last few episodes, right? Unless I am, I don't know. I feel like that needed to be the actual Amy, given how poignant, the finale is, and her playing such a major role in kind of bringing the Doctor back, right? Near the conclusion of the series finale. So I feel like, that kind of needs to be the real Amy, given the magnitude of those things, right? Ultimately, it is going to be, at some point, that is a lot of missing time, perhaps, right? My initial thought was, the 3-month time skip from episode 1 to 2. But then, again, as I said that, I remembered the Doctor mentioning he's here looking into something else as well. And then, kind of going back to the whole invited to someone's death, right? There's this is a great joke near the conclusion, right? As John Smith or Ganger Doctor or Dr. Goo is about to die, right? Again, it's not confirmed that he dies because our Doctor implies that no, it's not necessary that you'll actually kind of just die, because our Doctor did mention to his counterpart that the molecular memory can survive through this, right? This might not necessarily be the end. Again, strongly hinting at that, they don't actually die. And again, the Doctor kind of figures out how to kind of decommission them, melt them and kind of restore them to the flesh. And also, there's a great moment as he tells Rory to kind of step off. I believe he said, given how they've learned all the things they've learned, he'll try to be as humane as possible about this, right? Again, melting down Amy's avatar, right? That I feel like that one is just a basic avatar that Amy was actually kind of controlling, right? She couldn't tell the difference, though of course she was kind of having those moments leading up to this, right? The eye patch lady a few times throughout the series. They established, they clearly established that, the ones, the crew essentially, they become sentient because of that solar flare, that storm that happened, right? But I was going to say, how come Amy's Ganger didn't become sentient as well because of that storm? Clearly, this one, Amy's Ganger is a bit more advanced, right? Because he also mentions he had to come back to look at the early stages of the flesh, right? So yeah, he knew the place, he knew the almost people. He wanted to be in this place. He wanted to check all this stuff out, right? It was starting to feel like that in episode 1. There's a lot of moments like that, that he was here for a reason. Now let's kind of look into some of the rest of the episode, some of the supporting cast. I've got to say, I really like the whole, father-son moment, right? And then again, the big switch, him having to step into the shoes and kind of, becoming a dad from that point on. But it wasn't as simple as just that, though, right? He became a husband as well, right? Again, the ring. Then it gets a little bit tricky, right? His wife is also not going to know ever, right? That this is essentially a copy of her husband, right? I don't know. This is an interesting one, isn't it? Yes, on one end, this kid's always going to have a father figure, right? And he'll have no idea that his actual father died. As far as he knows, this is the same father, right? But then the moment they kind of show the ring, then I start thinking about that aspect of it, right? And they've already kind of shown us in this episode it came as a bit of a surprise to me as well, right? I actually thought that character's Ganger was going to try to speak with the child, but instead he almost immediately realizes, no, I could never be this father's child. He needs his actual father, and he goes immediately to rescue the other father, who ends up dying, unfortunately. And then, of course, he is the one who convinces his copy, okay, you've got to step up to the plate now, right? You have to take this responsibility now. You're the father, you're a dad from this point on. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting question to pose. You know, I would love to hear your thoughts on it, right? Could you do something like that, right? If you found yourself in that position. And I believe the doctor mentioned, you know, I've helped him into an act of humanity, right? And you see him kind of setting up that call earlier in the episode, right? It's a delayed call, I believe he mentioned, as Amy asked him. And then it happened later, as, you know, he's like, ring, ring. A few months later, the phone rings and it's Adam. Young Adam on his birthday. You know, but the one thing that was a little bit jarring was the whole, you know, jumping from kind of like peace to war and to peace again, right? How quickly and how easily they were able to kind of jump back and forth, right? Of course, Jennifer was the constant. She was the one that was hell-bent on getting revenge, you know, making them pay for the things they've, you know, done, the inhumane things they've done. Though I did not see that aspect of Jen coming at all in episode 1, right? It's quite the jarring shift, quite the drastic shift in, you know, Jen's disposition, isn't it? It's funny that she's the one, right, that ends up being this revolutionary, essentially. Though, you know, I'm not saying it makes her bad or evil. You can understand that perspective as well. I just, you know, I thought some of the supporting cast, they just kind of flip-flopped a bit too easily for my liking. And by supporting cast, I mean the supporting cast's gangers. And also at moments, you know, they had Rory become quite oblivious, right? He should have been able to see that he's being used, or, you know, he's being manipulated the moment she puts his hand on that panel, right? The hand panel that requires human DNA. So I do feel like it was a little bit out of character for Rory to be this oblivious. But you can also kind of chalk it up to him, you know, wanting to help Jen, really wanting to help Jen. And, you know, again, I feel like a lot of the things I mentioned in episode 1, or the discussion for episode 1, it kind of just carries over, right? And it kind of makes sense since it is a two-parter. You know, Rory kind of understanding her situation, again, being a nurse as well, and just being a kind-hearted person, right? As, again, you know, depicted in that first episode as well, kind eyes. You know, I kind of love the moment in the beginning there. Surely that was meant to be a past doctor. Now, I didn't recognize the voice as Eccleston or Tennant, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that was probably a classic doctor that I don't know of. But, you know, you'll have to go and confirm that for me in the comments. Would you like a jelly? I believe that was the line of dialogue. And, you know, this is around the time he's kind of struggling to stabilize because of the past regenerations, I believe. You know, he must have mentioned some other things that are kind of like, you know, Easter eggs for Doctor Who fans, classic fans, or fans of classic Doctor Who as well. You know, I noticed that at that point, it got a little bit mumbly, right? I could have used the subtitles, you know, I'll have to put on the subtitles for the next one. There's actually a few moments in this episode that I felt like I needed the subtitles, because sometimes, yeah, it became kind of like this mush of, you know, the background score and the dialogue. And again, you know, there are a few moments that I was just not able to kind of comprehend the dialogue, right? Because of the accent, I guess. But yeah, you know, this episode, I feel like I missed a few things because of, again, the sound mixing, perhaps. So, you know, I think I'll have the subtitles on for the next one, just in case, right? And maybe a few more after that as well. I don't know. Again, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like I mentioned before. Now, kind of, you know, going back to the whole Amy kind of giving birth after being replaced and kidnapped, essentially, you kind of have to think of the motives behind taking Amy, a pregnant Amy, of course. That's clearly a big part of all of this, right? And potentially snatching her child. Again, who I believe to be the child who regenerates. And in the I was about to say the impossible suit, the astronaut suit. So now you kind of have to start thinking about how much do they know about Amy and Rory and them being on the TARDIS and it potentially affecting any offspring, right? Maybe they also had some kind of intel, or they also knew, oh, there's, you know, there is a possibility that there could be something special about a child that was kind of conceived on the TARDIS. You know, there is a possibility of that, and they kind of wanted to snatch that baby. But yeah, I feel like, you know, they are trying to get the child. Like, they are trying to snatch the child. And it looks like they were kind of successful, right? Given how I know that child, that young girl, kind of doesn't have the greatest childhood, right? She's kind of in the care of the silence as well. So I don't know, I feel like these next few episodes are about to be really exciting, really quite exciting, I'm really quite anxious to get to them, quite, restless at this point in time to, get my answers to all of this. And also, lastly, again, Murray Gold's music. There's that one theme that was in the first episode as well, and in this episode as well. It's like the main theme of this two-parter. Wow, so good, so good. And of course, that's a given. It's Murray Gold. Right then, I think that's about it for this one, folks. I'll sign off on that note. If you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments. Give me your thoughts. If you're interested in early access to the next episode right now, or maybe even full length to this episode or any of the past episodes, consider checking out the Patreon page. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. Also, there's links to social media if that's your thing. Whew, okay, that's it for this one. Thank you for joining me and thank you for your time. This time is precious. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one. Until then, take it easy.